out of fashion a bit.
Yeah.
The martial art movies, and I feel like it was Jean-Claude Van Damme who kind of brought a new dynamic
Yeah.
to the movies. They were a bit bloodier and grittier, and the first movie that I saw, no, actually the first movie that he did, I think, was Black Eagle, and he wasn't the main character there.
Okay.
So I don't know who the main character was. It was again a B movie. He plays this Russian, even though he's not Russian, he can't do a Russian accent for the fuck of it, but doesn't matter.
We're not here to judge, but
yeah. And he's this, bad Russian agent, and he just fights the main character who's Asian, who has an accent but works for the CIA. It doesn't
in the context. Watching, sure. Okay.
And then he had these splits on two barrels and just throwing knives, and it's like, wow. And he had a physique that was, he was probably 25, 26-ish, and doing the splits and just being really badass. And then he did another movie called No Retreat, No Surrender.
Yes.
Where you actually have the ghost of Bruce Lee teaching a kid to fight. It's ludicrous, but it wasn't a bad movie. So it was a B movie with very little budget. Again, Van Damme's the bad guy there, beats everybody up, and then there's this kid, and he goes and prays at Bruce Lee's tombstone, and then his ghost appears and teaches him the way of the dragon.
I mean, listen, if you're going to reference or use a mentor, who better than to use that?
Yeah. It was insane. But it had a good soundtrack.
Saying that, but it's been so long. I have to definitely check it again, much to my dismay. But yes, I would.
It's one of those movies where you can just throw your mind away, and it's really nostalgic. But then he did Kickboxer, which was a B movie by all aspects, budget-wise. They just went to Thailand, shot it there, and I recall listening to a Q&A with the director, and they had to advertise the movie with flyers back then. There was no social media or anything like that.
Different time.
And Bloodsport was the first one with the Kumite thing.
Yeah.
That was even lower budget.
Just put them on the map.
Yeah. Very interesting. How do you feel about Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I grew up watching him too. I remember my dad had VHSs as well. I think it was, like you said, something fresh, something different. Very totally different to the other ones too. So I think that's what was part of the appeal. It wasn't just the same but recycled. It was different. It had like a different approach, different type of casting type.
Different kind of martial arts, because all that before that we had kung fu and karate, and now we had kickboxing,
and also more Western oriented production. In terms of in terms of subject matter and what would happen and how they do it. Like it was very it was a different approach, and I thought that was interesting too. So I actually enjoyed Van Damme a lot. I mean, you can't deny the splits and the physicality. And growing up, I was like, well, this guy's a cool dude, man. He's like fighting. I remember like a scene that always has stayed with me, just because it was just so ridiculous but so impressive. I think it's a Time Cop, and he goes in the kitchen, and he's in his boxes.
Yes.
And he just jumps and he does the splits on the kitchen. And it was
water and like, electricity, and I'm like, who comes up with this?
But just I was like, wow.
Yeah. But he was by that point he was huge. He was a huge star, because he started with small B productions, and he introduced new martial arts, kickboxing and Muay Thai. Nobody heard of Muay Thai before that. It was like, whoa, elbows, knees, and all that stuff. So that was cool. And then he did a death warrant when he's in the prison.
Yes.
And then he did Lionheart, which was again cool, French Legionnaire he was French once,
Of
I think,
course,
in his
of course.
career.
Yeah,
Because otherwise,
absolutely. Close enough.
in Time Cop, his name was Walker.
Yeah,
I'm like, how does that work?
that's okay.
Walker, okay.
I remember a lot of people didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it when I was younger. There's just something cool about it. I don't know what it was. Double Team. With him and the
It's
drummer.
so bad, it's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just, you know, I just remember enjoying the set pieces, everything that it was. I don't. There's just something about it. It had something.
Yes,
You know?
it had Mickey Rourke as a baddie again. That's
Yeah.
he's good. He's good
Yeah.
at that stuff. And lions and babies and it was mad. Like yeah, Simon Says, yeah,
just that final fight and the foots on the mine.
oh yeah. In the arena there was this. Come on, man. Yeah,
It's just-
completely crazy.
I just remember, like you always have a guilty pleasure film that you watch. I just remember that it just impressed me when I was younger.
Yeah, it's not a good movie, but it's not a bad movie
No.
either, because he did a couple of bad movies. Like he did Derailed, unfortunately for everyone who was a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. It's like, oh my, I really wanted to find something about that movie that it was, it took the whole train thing from the Steven Seagal movie, and just
You can't win them all.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
can't win them all,
But I mean, we have to talk about Universal Soldier. Now that was a badass blockbuster movie, like a proper badass
I
movie.
remember it being really dark. I remember when I was younger, I was like, "Oh, this is heavy, very heavy." Like I remember almost treating it like a bit of a horror film. I almost didn't want to watch it. I remember when it was first shown to me, I was like, "Oh my god, this is."
But even the opening scene, when they kill each other, right, and then in the body bag, and even now I remember the opening. Zip goes up, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Then zip goes up, Dolph Lundgren. These guys are dead. You're starting the movie with two dead guys.
And that's the end of the film. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and then the whole concept
Short film.
the whole concept, like bringing back dead soldiers and making them these superhuman things, and the whole movie, like I can watch it even now again. It didn't age badly. They didn't have a CGI there. Everything was practical effects, explosions.
Yeah.
The fight scenes were really, really cool.
Yeah.
When he's in the diner and doesn't have any money and just eating stuff, and then the chef comes out. Are you gonna pay for that?
Classics.
Pay for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, sometimes you're just fortunate enough to get a few timeless ones where you can just watch them and watch them and watch them, and they don't age, like you say. I think Universal Soldier was definitely one of them.
The first one.
The ones that came after that.
Because after that, everything else. I think they still want to do a couple. I'm like, no, just please leave it alone. Let it rest.
They don't need to come back anymore.
No,
it's
no.
okay.
Actually, there's an alternative scene. There was a different ending where he gets shot by police at the end of it. So that's how the
Really?
studios envisioned.
Okay.
After he kills Dolph Lundgren in the meat grinder thingy, police show up and they shoot him and he dies. That's how the director wanted to end the movie, and apparently,
didn't test
franchise-wise, maybe we can leave it open.
You need to make some
Yeah.
money. Okay, that makes sense.
And then it was actually Jean-Claude Van Damme who brought John Woo over.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so what's the name of Hard Target. So before Face Off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, John Woo did for Jean-Claude Van Damme, he did Hard Target, when he has the long hair. And that was a good movie. Lance Henriksen as a baddie.
Oh, it's taken me back now. I haven't seen Hard Target in such a long time. You inspired me. I may have to go watch it.
Yeah, another movie that I think aged pretty well. I probably watch that movie every 2 or 3 years when I just want to, take my brain, throw it out the window. But the action scenes are so impressive. I mean, every now and then you can see, for certain scenes, the stunt double. It's not Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's fine. On a motorcycle when he's doing the jump,
okay.
it's fine.
We'll accept it.
Yeah, we'll accept it. But the scenes are so well done, so well done. And I think John Woo still has that. He understands fight choreography a lot better. This is before the quick takes when Liam Neeson kind of look. I'm in the 70s and I'm kicking ass here.
Got to make them look
Yeah,
effective.
the motorcycle coming in this slow motion. Where he jumps from the side of the car and just hits the guy in the helmet, and then bike flips off. Like those are so cool. So cool.
Moments.
Yeah.
That period of time had a lot of those in cinema. They used to do all these practical stunts and everything, and I remember you just go, wow. And then came CGI.
They are dangerous because some people
course.
died and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But I think it still looks so much better than CGI. I have nothing against CGI, but it kind of made those movies feel real. And at some point,
grounded them a bit more.
I thought that it was just because I was a child, and maybe that's why I could buy the fantasy. But then I go and revisit those movies as an adult, and someone who kind of understands the industry a bit more, and I still look at those movies and I'm like, well, actually believe that could be done, in a way. You could kick that guy in the face while he's riding the bike. You could flip over a car from a motorcycle and do that thing and then turn around and shoot, because in theory you could. I mean, there's gravity, and it's still there, like in today's movies where
you
there's
didn't
no
have to
such thing
suspend
as
your disbelief that
completely.
much.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes those films more effective than ones that are heavily CGI. Like you say, it makes it feel tangible, makes it feel like, yeah, this could happen if you were lucky enough.
Well, I mean, you probably have a bit of grazes and
Just a bit, a bruise or two.
A bruise or two. You don't have bruises. They don't believe that it's Jean-Claude Van Damme who bruises. He doesn't.
It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, his life then went completely, drugs and stuff like that. And
I'll be honest, I'm surprised more haven't fallen down that path. It's imagine you making loads of money, you've got all this success. It's going to be all sorts of temptation being thrown at you. I'm not entirely surprised that Jean-Claude went down that way. But again, disappointing if you're a fan, because obviously you want them to be at their best for as long as they can be. But sometimes these things happen, and I think we forget that they're not just superheroes. They're people too.
Yeah, they're human, and the saying like don't meet your heroes because they're gonna turn out to be human.
Yeah, they're gonna be disappointing, or they're gonna disappoint you in some way. So I think it's our fault as fans to create this pedestal image of them when they're just like everybody else with weaknesses or vices, I guess. But it's a shame. But I mean, I feel like it's not like he hasn't lived, right?
Yeah, he's still around. He's still doing movies, still kicking ass.
Oh God, he's just Street Fighter.
Yeah. That movie did not age well.
I remember playing the game religiously, and this was in Malaysia when it came out, and I remember seeing the poster and I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be amazing. And you realize that Ryu and Ken, who arguably should be the main characters, were relegated to just a couple of nobodies. And Jean-Claude Van Damme doing Guy, which I thought was not bad casting at the time.
The all-American.
Yeah.
All-American soldier.
He looked the part. I mean,
the weird guy.
Yeah, and Bison is what killed me, because unfortunately the actor was sick at the time. But
yeah, cancer.
Unfortunately, I mean, great actor, but it was just, you see Bison in the game, and he's this jock, this massive meathead jock, and when you see him, it was
frail and skinny and frail. Yeah.
So it was.
They did try to put a lot of stuff on him to make him look bigger than he was.
Yeah.
But I think I liked him as a villain. It was good, but everything else I tried to revisit it probably about 2 years ago when I did an episode on Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
And I I just looked at the production design and the colors and the acting and pretty much everything. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
this is a catastrophe.
I heard it was a very crazy production as well. So.
I mean, he was on coke like half of the times. Yes,
Sonic boom.
Yes. So apparently he was, but it was that dark period of his life when he was like this major star. He could command like 10 million, 15 million per movie, and he wanted 20 at some point, and he got really greedy, and that's when the studios kind of dropped him from production. So he was, on top of the world. At some point, he was bigger than Brad Pitt in terms of how commercially viable he was for studios. So he knew that. And, ego and everything else. But yeah, that movie was just. I love the game again, and then the movie was like.
And I don't know if you remember this, but they released a game, but based with the movie.
Yes, which I was excited about, but the game was clunky and just no.
And just Blanca was the issue for me. I just saw Blanca and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I suppose a green monster guy with electricity was always going to be quite difficult to.
Yeah, it was going to be difficult. Yeah, the whole movie was just. Now that I think about it, I remember that Kylie Minogue was in it and she was hot, and that kind of saved half the movie. Just put her there.
One of Australia's best,
Oh yeah. Chun-Li was quite a small role again. Yeah.
Like all these big characters just became just an extra.
Yeah, pretty much. There was a couple of weird, funny scenes, like when all the soldiers come with the gun and he takes the knife out.
Sagat.
Oh God! Oh, he's that Native American actor who was in the Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, but he's so big in the game. He's like this monster, and he just looked like a Bond villain in the film. It was just
a copy-paste Bond villain. Oh God.
But like, I think sometimes they forget when you're doing something like a video game that's a fighting game, the characters need to look jacked. They need to look athletic. So when you have a guy that's wearing a suit but he's looking like, Blofeld, you're a bit like, I'm not seeing him tiger kneeing anybody right now.
No, it's weird. That was not a successful adaptation.